Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. So we've been going through the 20 traps that people tend to experience in their lifetime. Doesn't matter when you were born, doesn't matter where you were born. It's kind of things that are inevitable that might present in your walk. So it's kind of nice to have a heads up. Another thing is just 10 ways to show self-love. I'm going to start with self-love. The first one is start a gratitude journal. And I know people have that. I talk about Tanny Raw, and she's a social media phenom on every health channel. And part of her Raw Reset, which is this 28-day, and I have a video you can put in Tanny Raw Reset, it'll teach you all about it, is to keep a journal, largely for your food, the changes in your health from day to day. But over time, when you reflect back on that journal, inevitably it can become a gratitude journal, especially if you continue to move forward with your health, which of course is the best intention. So this, if you're not recording your daily food and things, is just to specifically start a journal, a notepad, something where you can just put a couple of things to celebrate every day. And for people who experience depression, and there's certainly reason for it today, with the COVID, with the pandemic, with the storms and the ice and the snow going on in so many places. I don't want to offend anybody, but in California, we literally had a foot of sunshine today. That's just cruel, right? I've often thought it'd be so great if there was like a, I couldn't do anything for the sunshine, but if there was some kind of underground, what am I trying to think? Tunneling system of some sort, where when we are having severe droughts in our area, we could actually, that it would literally bring the water, ice, and snow to the West Coast. And I don't know what we could contribute. Is there anything we could give you guys? There's no way for us to give you sunshine. What if we could do solar energy here and benefit you by sending the power of that? Something like that. I mean, because it's just crazy. Depending on where you live in our vast country, your reality can be completely different. I guess a common reality, though, is to choose our food and try and use some of these tools to better our life. So this one, again, it's just writing a couple of things that you're grateful for. And when you're feeling down, you can pull those out and go, oh yeah, this went well yesterday. This was going well this morning. Because when I think about people committing suicide, which is so horrific, and I've had family members do it, they often kill themselves over, which of course is a permanent solution, over something that was probably a temporary problem. So to have that list in those moments when you cannot remember for the life of you anything worth living for, gratitude journal. Okay, so we're on day 15. If you're just joining us, you're right on time, of the traps that people tend to fall into. So this one is the trap of taking the short-term view. And again, that would be the same thing. When you're feeling depressed or suicidal or whatever, you're only looking at the most immediate problem instead of panning out and seeing that there's far more solutions, opportunity, etc. So the trap of taking the short-term views. Life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. If you've ever run a marathon, that's a no. You can know that it can be disastrous to start too fast. I totally understand that. You can only win a marathon or even hope to complete a marathon by pacing yourself. You must take it slowly and just a little bit at a time. And so it is in life. The way to win in life's journey is to take the long-term view rather than the short-term view. Some things just take time, and you must often sacrifice the quick pleasure for the sustaining joy. This is where discipline enters the picture. The author, Andy Andrews, gives the clearest definition of self-discipline I've come across so far. It reads, self-discipline is the ability to make yourself do something you don't necessarily want to do to get a result that you would really like to have. Right? Let's read that again. Self-discipline is the ability to make yourself do something you don't necessarily want to do to get a result that you would really like to have. I love that. Pretty simple, actually. Self-discipline is merely taking the long-term view. It's realizing that in order to have what I really want in the future, I must sacrifice in the present. No one would exercise self-discipline unless there was a payoff. What many people miss about self-discipline is that it is not a meaningless sacrifice. It's just present sacrifice for a future reward. If you're able to give up in the present for what you really want in the future, you'll exercise the self-discipline required to make that happen. If you don't, you won't. Let's read that again. If you're able to give up in the present for what you really want in the future, you'll exercise the self-discipline required to make that happen. If you don't, you won't. If what you want is not valuable, there's no reason to sacrifice for it. But if what is valuable but requires sacrifice in the present, make that sacrifice. In other words, take the long-term view. Don't fall into the trap of short-termism. That's cute. Short-termism. Yeah. I've been struggling in general because I do feel like I'm doing the best by myself. And my body, even though I know I'm looking hot, my body is not necessarily responding the way I would hope. And I don't want the pettiness of a calorie here, a calorie there. I absolutely understand that calories matter. So within my range of calories matter, I want to understand that I ate a few hundred less yesterday. I might have 50 more or 100 more today. But I want my body to ultimately release the excess weight and to honor me. And it seemingly isn't doing that, and certainly not fast enough. So that's when I'm accidentally caught up in the sprint and in wanting it yesterday and going to the negativity of screw this, it's never going to happen. And then, of course, I remind myself about how long it took for me to get to where I am, and that I have to be far more patient as my body even dares to learn to trust me again. And then that's when I get into my marathon mindset of doing the right thing a little bit every day and knowing that ultimately it'll get me to that final mile. It's not easy, but it's worth it, right? I would love to hear what your marathon is. I'd love to know if you also struggle in wanting everything now and, starting to buy into the negativity of not being consistent because seemingly you're not having the results that you want. I'd love to hear about that. And also, do you have an actual, dedicated gratitude journal? Is this something that you'd be willing to do? And do you see why it would benefit you to do that? I'd love to hear that too. But as always, I'm Jules Blessed Vegan. I'm here to hear whatever you want to share in the comments below, or you can find me on every platform, basically, under JulesBlessedVegan.com, Instagram, JulesBlessedVegan, etc. I'm continuing to pray for all of you struggling with weather. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings by teasing about California, but I do wish we could share our resources. Anyway, if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. And until we talk again, best of all, know that you are still on the planet, and for that, you are blessed.